This is our friend Decca who wrote the article Jordan Peterson looks like. And there's a response from Mikhaila Peterson. And I watched it already, and well, you're gonna see, but I think I missed a couple of things that she mentions and supports with evidence. And it's probably because I was playing video games. But then there's also a couple of things that she misses that I point out, and that she should have been, I think in general, she should have been much more angry than. Okay, let's see. See here, window. Mikhaila Peterson. Done. Okay. And I double checked. This profile here on ResearchGate does state Pearson has over 9k academic citations. It's not a meme. It's not over 9,000, but it's actually over 9,000. I have her as Becca in most places, but replace Becca with Becca. Replace all. Yep. What? How does this replace but not this? Right. Okay, so let's listen to Mikhaila.
This weekend, the Sunday Times released a hit piece on my dad, Jordan Peterson.
We'll speed this up.
And it wasn't just in their magazine.
Oh my god, sure.
Psych meds that
shit.
Turns out, I'm Mikhaila Peterson. This weekend, the Sunday Times released a hit piece on my dad, Jordan Peterson, and me. And it wasn't just in their magazine, it was the front cover. I was focused on in there to an uncomfortable degree. That article has led to other articles, and now we have the media all over the world telling everyone my dad has schizophrenia. Turns out the entire mainstream media is based...
Right, so the schizophrenia bit. I thought it was wrong. But I couldn't, obviously, for me to verify that it was wrong, I would have to go through the whole 3-hour thing again. So that's like almost like 6 hours of listening for that piece of information. But I thought this wasn't correct. And now she confirms it. No schizophrenia.
Basically a tabloid now, which you'd think...
And you can tell that she's trying to hit him with that when she goes with like... voices in your head. Wait a minute. What was it? Does it generate a self-punishing voice in his head? So now Peterson has to confirm that he's hearing voices in his head. Which, you know, schizophrenia. But again, our friend Decca is not a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
I'd have already known. Dad does not, just to be clear, and has never had schizophrenia. He had akathisia, which is a very deadly and severe side effect of some psych medications, and originally started with benzodiazepines used to treat insomnia and depression associated with an autoimmune disorder. He does not have akathisia anymore, and he's been off the meds, benzodiazepines, since January 4th, 2020, that were causing it. So if you're worried about him, he's okay now. He's doing better than he's done in 2 years. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to produce podcasts with Matthew McConaughey, Russell Brand, etc., and plan book events in March. So that schizophrenia story is a complete lie used to discredit him by the mainstream media, and it's been really quite hard on my family over the weekend, and it's still spreading. We decided as a family to talk about akathisia because people don't understand it, and it's a dangerous condition, and we thought if we spoke about it, maybe other people could avoid the hell that nearly killed my dad and the hell my whole family experienced in the last 2 years. My dad has written an email response that he sent to the Times, and I've linked it below. It's on his blog. He has no interest in addressing the press situation by video, and honestly, it would be a waste of his time. But I wanted to explain what's going on, and I'm pretty angry about it. So first, why'd we even do the interview with the Times? Clearly, it was a mistake. We originally decided to do the Times interview because Dad's publishers suggested it. The Times had been reaching out for about 6 months, and because we were invited with this super polite email. I'll post it up, but here it is. I hope you're well. I don't think we've worked together before. I'm a commissioning editor at the Sunday Times magazine in London. I wanted to get in touch about a potential interview when the time is right with your father, Jordan Peterson. We've been following his story closely over the past weeks and hoping that he's doing better. It's such an exhausting, uncompromising virus. This was sent in August after we had COVID. It must be an incredibly stressful period for you all. When the time feels right, we would love to send one of our writers to speak with him for the magazine. I like to think we tell difficult stories with generous space, time, and objectivity. We run long-form features, telling the whole story, rather than short, flashy headlines. The headline they published was, Jordan Peterson on his depression, drug dependency, and Russian rehab hell. The interview would cover his life and career to date, family life, illness, recovery, and upcoming plans and projects for the future. It would allow you to clear up any factual inaccuracies that might have been reported in the press, telling his side of the story, as well as celebrating his life and career so far. Let me know what you think. I've attached some interview examples here so you can get an idea of what it might look like. It would be great to talk. Best wishes. So I sent that email over to the Penguin publicists to vet. The Times came off as totally reasonable to them, and they thought it was a great idea, and we set it up for January. We figured perhaps if we got the health aspect out of the way, then when his book, Beyond Order, is published March 2nd, we won't have to deal with health questions anymore, given it's in the past. However, things went completely sideways. They wanted serious details about the health experience. Now, Dad and I did a podcast in July detailing the journey in detail. We decided I should describe what had happened because I was there the whole time, I was with him throughout it, and I remember it. But much more importantly, it's absolutely miserable to go over, and Dad's feeling better, and I didn't want some journalist poking him about things they don't understand. I wasn't supposed to be part of the article. I was just supposed to give details. I was just supposed to recount the health aspect of the last year. I told the journalist specifically, so I'll give you the brief story. I've recounted it a whole bunch of times every time we get a new doctor. So I'll give you the background, and I wanted to do it because my dad he's still not fully recovered. He's probably not going to be fully recovered for another year, to be honest. And he's still extremely prone to anxiety. And so any recounting of it knocks him out for a couple days. Dad was hoping, I don't know what the article's going to be like, he's hoping it's not going to focus entirely on health. I said that I read the other stories, and some of them were pretty health-focused, so we'll see what he says tomorrow, because he's trying to, get past this, but we thought if people understood what happened and the reason behind things, then we could just let it be. It was like, this happened, don't do some of these things, and if you are on these medications, like especially psych meds, and you're akathesic, and you weren't before, maybe look at the meds, right? But people don't know about it, and there are some docs, some specialists out there that can help if you know what the problem is. But yeah, ideally, we'll just leave this be, and then Dad can go back to touring and writing and doing podcasts and being controversial, and we can not deal with health for a while. It's like my entire life. But yeah, reach out if you have any questions.
Brilliant. Mikhaila, thank you very, very much.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
We didn't want to talk about his health too much. We didn't really want that to be a huge focus. We wanted to get past it. However, I'm skeptical of mainstream media, clearly not enough, so I recorded the entire interview Dad did and the one I did, and they're up completely unedited on my dad's channel right now. It's just the audio, unfortunately. It's called Unedited Peterson Times Interview. However, it's 3 hours long and has no video, and this press disaster needs to be addressed, I think. So I'm going to go through the Times article now and tell you guys where the mistakes are. We can compare to what was said in the actual interview as well. Jordan Peterson on his depression, drug dependency, and Russian rehab hell, the superstar psychologist, scourge of snowflakes, and his daughter Mikhaila explain how he unraveled, and their bizarre journey to find a cure. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long, but I'll read the really spicy part.
It's not actually that long.
I thought this was going to be a normal interview with Jordan Peterson. After speaking with him at length, and his daughter for even longer, I no longer have any idea what it is. I don't know if it's a story about drug dependency or doctors or Peterson family dynamics or a parable about toxic masculinity. Whatever else it is, it's very strange. Okay, so far that's not too unreasonable. It is very strange. Then she goes in to describe who Dad is. A clinical psychologist, a conservative superstar of the culture wars, born and raised in Alberta, spent the first 3 decades of his career in relative academic obscurity, turning out papers and maintaining a small clinical practice. All that changed in 2016. Practically overnight, the Toronto professor became a YouTube sensation, posting videos and lectures attacking identity politics and political correctness, and dispensing bracing advice about how to be a real man. So I haven't read this entire article all the way through because I was really upset over the weekend, and every time I read it, I cried. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not a particularly sensitive person, and this was really upsetting. So this is the first time reading it all the way through. So hopefully I don't get too emotional. His 2018 self-help bestseller, 12 Rules for Life and Antidote to Chaos, has made him arguably the world's most famous, and certainly its most controversial public intellectual. I don't think that's right. I don't think it was the book. It was actually the media and a couple of interviews that made him the most controversial public intellectual, given the fact, if you actually listen to him, he's not very controversial. So then you guys can read it. You have to read this article.
Right.
She goes on to talk about Kathy Newman on Channel 4. Okay, so she goes after the Kathy Newman debate, obviously, and then goes, if his rise to fame was dramatic, what has happened since he disappeared from public view 18 months ago sounds fantastical. In his daughter's words, it's like a horror movie. It was like a horror movie. It's been like 2 years of a horror movie.
And
but,
this
don't have any
woman is
sympathy for
willing
that.
to add
A
to
movie
that
in which her
horror.
father gets hooked on benzodiazepines. That's one way of putting it. Or you can say formed a dependency because that's what those drugs do. Became...
Right. You're not seeing it, this, Mikhaila. Dramatic. Right. Let's listen to that again.
Diazepines. Sounds fantastical. In his daughter's words, it's like a horror movie. It was like a horror movie.
But in his daughter's words, it was like a horror movie. A movie which her father gets hooked on benzodiazepines, becomes suicidal, is hospitalized for his own safety, and then diagnosed with schizophrenia. So, this movie that she described, that she's putting into Mikhaila's mouth, is not what happened. You're focusing on the fact that it's a horror movie, but you're not focusing on the fact that this woman is trying to make it even more of a horror with those two sentences right here. It's like a horror movie. She doesn't believe it, okay, but you get baited and you talk about it. Why talk about this? Talk about the rest. Hooked on benzodiazepines, becomes suicidal, is hospitalized for his own safety, and then diagnosed with schizophrenia. Everyone is hospitalized for their own safety. And I think Mikhaila is going to address some of it, like the schizophrenia, obviously. But that's a bait as well. This whole thing is because this woman wants to turn Jordan and Mikhaila's life into more of a horror than it already is. Say it.
It's been like 2 years of a horror movie, but, don't have any sympathy for that. A movie in which her father gets hooked on benzodiazepines. That's one way of putting it. Or you can say formed a dependency because that's what those drugs do. Became suicidal. Misses the akathisia part. He didn't just become suicidal. He had a akathisia caused by the meds. And is hospitalized and then diagnosed with schizophrenia. So that's what the mainstream media is picking up on. The reason we pulled him out of the hospital, which we made clear in the podcast, is because when no one would diagnose him with akathisia because the doctors didn't know what was going on. So he was misdiagnosed multiple times. Misdiagnosed. When we finally found a competent doctor, he was diagnosed with akathisia, which is what I tried to make clear in the interview, because lots of people with akathisia are misdiagnosed and it kills them. So that's what happened to my dad. He never had schizophrenia. Okay. Oh, this is good too. Against his doctor's advice.
He never had schizophrenia. That's true. But now, you're not commenting on the fact that this woman knows he didn't have schizophrenia, but she's writing it anyway. Why is this happening? I don't think I think it's lost on you. I don't think you know what the fuck is going on. And granted, my mistake was not figuring this part out, the schizophrenia part. I thought this was wrong, but I missed it.
That misdiagnosed him. Just a random doctor that misdiagnosed him. She flies him to Russia to be placed in an induced coma. He emerges delirious, unable to walk, and ricochets from one rehab center to another. ending up in a Serbian clinic where he contracts COVID-19. Okay, because people don't know.
Okay, and now I think Mikhaila fucks up again. Ricocheting between one clinic to another. How many clinics do you think that statement suggests? It's more than one. Is it more than two? Is it more than three? I would guess it's 3 plus, right? That's what the impression that the reader has to get. 3 clinics somewhere in Europe. But that's not true. That's not what happened. I think it was 1 or 2. So this bouncing between, that's already bullshit.
Know
And
the
she's
story.
not catching it.
We went to hospitals in Canada and then the US and then back in Canada before we went to Russia because
So
obviously we were trying to stay in the North American healthcare system. And
3 clinics,
you guys should listen to the
2
interview that we
clinics
actually did.
in North
Actually, I'll put a clip
America,
up.
and
Why
1
on-
clinic.
This is obviously
in-
I've talked to various people about this, and everyone says, why on earth would a high-profile North American?
I went to the best treatment clinic in North America in Connecticut, and all they did was make it worse. We were out of options. We were out of options. The judgment of my family was that I was likely going to die in Toronto. And so there was
You're
no...
gonna die in Toronto. Again, I mean, lots of people would say, why would you sort of trust the judgment? Although your family members love you, they're not trained, qualified medics. Why would you put yourself in their hands and not the medical profession's hands?
I had put myself in the hands of the medical profession. And the consequence of that was that I was going to die. And we put ourselves in the hands of medical professionals in Russia too. So it wasn't like we were completely fleeing from the medical profession. I tried a slow taper on the benzodiazepines and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I went to the treatment clinic on the Eastern Seaboard, and they had promised essentially a 12-week treatment program. And my impression of that was that at the end of that 12-week period, I would be free of benzodiazepines. But that isn't how it worked out at all. And I was on more medication when I left that treatment center than I was when I went in.
When I ask if he feels angry with himself for taking benzodiazepines, his daughter jumps in. This also didn't happen. You can listen to the interview. Jumps in, arms waving, hold on, and tries to bring the interview to a close. Here's a clip.
Is there anybody of you that's angry with yourself for taking benzodiazepines when now that you know how dangerous they are?
I wouldn't say angry. It's not like I failed to see the irony. And that was another thing about this that made it still continues to make it difficult to stomach. You know, should have I known better? Possibly.
Well,
I mean, I did do my thesis on alcoholism, although, you know...
this is, hold up.
Yeah.
You had a side effect from a
I
medication.
didn't catch
Should
this.
you have known better that benzodiazepines can cause akathisia in people who take SSRIs?
No.
You didn't have it like this. This wasn't benzodiazepine dependency problem. This was an akathisia side effect from psych med.
So she's trying to debate with him live in front of the
I have to
journalist.
say, we have 10 minutes before we have to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm doing okay, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but still, or mom will kill me.
So Mikhaila figures out during the interview, and this is somewhere here when she figures this out, that the journalist is not being exactly honest, or maybe she's just trying to keep her guard up in case. But the journal figures this out. I mean, not this part. The journal uses that fact that Mikhaila is defensive clearly to say that she's controlling, which is quite amazing. Do I need to crafting? Oh, there we go. Z perks. Oh, I got a perk. No. Journal. Crafting. Let's get more. Not this, not this. Nothing new here, nothing new here. I mean, those things are kind of new. This thing is new. I sell some shit. try and disassemble some shit. Okay, now I have the 10k to do the thingy. Wait. No, we'll have 20 just in case. So we'll sell. This and a bunch of this. Oh no, that's the bug. Shit.
If this was a movie, its director would unquestionably be the 28-year-old Mikhaila Peterson. I'm 29, but who cares about facts? CEO of her father's company. At least they don't say I do paid consultations, which they just stuck in the original copy and also isn't true.
Okay, this paid consultation shit, Mikhaila gets flack for it often from right and left, and I'm not gonna verify if this is true or not. I don't care. It's not even. She may be a scumbag, but this is not even. What the journal is doing is beyond anything that Mikhaila could be doing, even if everything was true.
She and her husband appear to have assumed full charge of his affairs, so before I'm allowed to speak to him, I must first talk to her. I wonder why someone who wrote this article wouldn't be allowed to talk to him directly. 'Cause you're a human spider. Oh, I see. She just doesn't like me because she doesn't like the way I look. Unrecognizable from the ordinary-looking brunette from photos just a few years ago. Mikhaila today is a glossy, pouting, Barbie blonde and talks with a zealous, spiky conviction of a President Trump press spokeswoman. Ah, okay, this is getting better.
Okay, so she's not gonna figure out what this is. This is more than merely feminine jealousy. This isn't. What is that? Unrecognizable from ordinary looking blood. Okay, what did they say? Say what you want about Mikhaila. She has been spiky since forever. She's gonna confirm this. Okay. Nothing about this President Trump shit right here. Mikhaila's gonna just let it go. But this means something, right? This is not accidental. And sorry, Meg, but you're far from like a Barbie blonde. You put on nice hair and nice makeup, but you're not a classically beautiful woman, or not even like a bimbo beautiful woman. You're not ugly, but this is meant to be an insult. Like, you're a stupid Barbie girl with a temper, and you're running defense for like a toxic male character who's your dad, and you're not catching this. This is one more sign, because the journalist never really clearly lays out the the thoughts that lead her to the conclusion that your story is a parable for toxic masculinity. The hints are shit like this. President Trump press spokeswoman. That's how you know that she's gonna draw that conclusion. You have to comment on this.
According to her website, she has suffered from juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disorder since early childhood, which necessitated a hip and ankle replacement at 17. Okay, according to my website. No, I'm faking it, man. I'm faking it. You got me. Needless to say, the medical profession does not... Why are we even on my meat diet? Honestly, I shouldn't even be in here. I don't know why they're mentioning that I look like a Barbie, but I like to take care of myself. What can I say? Barbie hair is getting my eye. Needless to say, the medical profession does not endorse this diet. Nevertheless, in 2018, her father adopted it, and within months declared it had cured his depression, anxiety, psoriasis, snoring, gingivitis, gastric reflux, and even floaters in his right eye. Right eye. Just one eye. I don't know where these people are coming up with this. He stopped taking the SSRI antidepressants he'd been on for 14 years and proclaimed he was intellectually at his best. That's when he went on tour. He was in really good shape. Like every medical autodidact, glad you can use fancy words, I've ever met, Mikhaila rattles off pharmacological jargon at 100 miles an hour. Just because she doesn't know what she's talking about doesn't mean I don't. Sweeping from one outlandish tale to another. Wow, with breathless melodrama that becomes increasingly exhausting to follow. She wants to give me the nitty-gritty nasty detail. Yeah, I wanted to do this. This was like the fun part of my day, of the past 18 months or so, because Dad is still not fully recovered and he's extremely prone to anxiety, so any recounting of the story knocks him out for a couple of days. One true thing. After 80 minutes on Zoom, the one thing of which I'm certain is that were I as close to death as she assures me your father repeatedly was, this is not the person I would entrust with saving my life. Well, that's fine. I wouldn't be helping anyway. I was trying to explain akathisia caused by psych meds that kills people, so that it doesn't kill other people, or to try to stop that from happening. By early 2019, Peterson was a household name. His book a global bestseller. When disaster strikes, his wife of 30 years, Tammy, was diagnosed with kidney cancer. We did a whole bunch of research, and it was this extremely rare cancer that is extremely deadly. We didn't just do the research. They diagnosed her with the deadly cancer, and they told us, and then we did research. So it wasn't like, just in case. That needs to be clarified. Tammy suffered all kinds of surgical complications, and Peterson spent months at her hospital bedside, terrified she would die. That summer, the doctor raised his benzodiazepine dose, but instead of soothing him, it seemed to only make matters worse. Dad started to get super weird. It was manifested as extreme anxiety and suicidality. That's the akathisia. If you guys know of anyone who starts a medication and gets panic and suicidal, it's probably the medication. There's something called akathisia. It's not good. Frightened he would kill himself, Peterson transferred to a public hospital in Toronto in November, where he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's not what I said, and that's not what happened. Akathisia makes people suicidal. It's this crawling feeling that's so bad. You can see people on YouTube try to describe it. It's a crawling sensation that makes you not want to stop moving. And so it's commonly misdiagnosed as schizophrenia because they don't know what it is. And in order to treat schizophrenia, you get put on psych meds, and that causes worsening akathisia. He was hospitalized in December.
Wait. So he was treated for schizophrenia?
And a doctor there said it could be bipolar, maybe it's schizophrenia, we should use ECT. And Dad and our family said no, because obviously that's not the problem. So this is what she writes. It's not like we're uneducated, this is me, according to her. It's not like we're uneducated in these things, right? She says. We kept telling them no, the problem was his medication, but they wouldn't listen to us. So we started calling rehab clinics around the world. We rang 57 of them. I don't say rang. And this one place in Russia said, yeah, we do detoxes. So we thought, what do we do? It's got to be dangerous because no one else will do it, but my family agreed, let's give it a shot. Yeah, that's not exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The Toronto doctors were not okay with it. We had to sign papers taking responsibility for whatever happened, and they were annoyed about it enough they wouldn't even give us his discharge papers.
You shouldn't just say, wow, that's not what happened, and you should provide evidence at that point. I mean, I know that's not what happened, because I've listened to the fucking thing and I took notes. But if you're gonna do shit like this, you need to support yourself, support with evidence. That's the whole point of this video. I mean, she's doing a decent job putting fuck off putting at least quotations and clips into it, but it's not all the time, and it's not in the right moments, and it's missing a bunch of stuff. Granted, I've missed a few things as well, but I'm not running the PR for her father.
Which is not even legal. It was a complete mess. Okay, explanation time. We pulled him out because they misdiagnosed him, and we went to get a competent doctor that fixed him. Sorry that doctor was in Russia. It still worked.
I mean,
and then the center we used in Serbia
stupid.
was a neurological rehab center, and it's one of the best ones in the entire world. People don't understand that there's a world outside of North America. At least this lady doesn't.
Want to talk to Royce? Dex sent us.
She's so mad at me. So, you guys have probably seen the podcast, and if you haven't, the podcast we did about this, because it's over, but she recounts the whole thing. Mikhaila contacted a clinic in Serbia. We'd already met with a head doctor there, by the way. It wasn't just like I randomly contacted a Serbian clinic. This, like, top-of-the-world private hospital, and flew her father to Belgrade, where he was diagnosed with akathisia. There we go. A condition of restlessness classically linked to benzodiazepine withdrawal. No, it's classically linked to psych meds. Finally, Mikhaila had found doctors who corroborated her own theory. That's actually partly true. I did find doctors who corroborated my own theory, and the theory was right. It was akathisia. Didn't she record this? By now my head is spinning. The blizzard of obscure pharmaceutical terminology keeps on coming as Mikhaila reels off the names of more antibiotics, fluoroquinolones, and antidepressants and antipsychotics prescribed to her father, recounting her objections to this one, and that one, it all becomes a blur. I was being recorded. How is this a blur? The long and short of it is that late last year, Peterson flew on to Canada with akathisia.
Okay, another thing that Mikhaila missed here is it's not a blur. The woman is trying to pretend that trying to portray you as a pseudo-scientific anti-doctor nut job. This is obviously the cathedral working its magic to take away your credibility, but but you need to comment on the fact that one, she herself was able to follow along the technical stuff, so it's either not that difficult or they did the same research. And secondly,
Anti-personnel mine. Directional.
and secondly, if she does know the stuff, she seems to be making some sorts of medical diagnoses, psychological diagnoses for schizophrenia and stuff like that on Peterson without being a licensed clinician. So whatever she's accusing you of, she's actually guilty of. So you should have pointed that out, unless Mikhaila was told not to by some sort of a lawyer. But I don't think so, because you wouldn't be making a 41-minute video if you wanted to deal with this article in court, which, you know, it's a shame because I think it's a slam dunk. Or maybe not, I don't know. I wonder what would Rakita say about this. Yeah, on second thought, I don't know much about law. Maybe it's not a slam
The
dunk,
intense agitation and restlessness.
maybe
that
they
makes
don't want to deal
him
with it.
and everyone else who experiences it suicidal has improved significantly but not disappeared.
But
It's
then
disappeared
I'd
now.
go full on
No one
ahead
can
in
understand why
this
it still
video.
plagues him. That's also not true. Okay? It takes a while to go away after you have that kind of effect. It's like, it's a delayed effect, takes a while to recover from it. That's in the medical literature if you're smart enough to read it. Having gone through several more doctors in Toronto, Mikhaila is currently corresponding online with thousands of akathisia sufferers who are telling me what worked for them. I had thousands of people email me after we released videos about Dad having akathisia, saying, you know, I hope you guys get through it, it almost killed me, or I lost somebody to it. and telling me what worked for them, because doctors don't really know how to deal with it. So I was collecting information because I was worried my dad was gonna die. Has she ever, I wonder, felt perceived by, like, why is this article about me? Has she ever, I wonder, felt perceived by the medical profession as the problem? Felt perceived by the medical profession as the problem. Okay. I said completely yes, 100%. I've been problematic for a while. I am problematic.
She's catty.
She starts to laugh.
But,
I'm pretty pushy when I think there's something wrong.
this
She
is
doesn't have any
not a
medical
good
training,
idea
though, I
if you
point out.
if
Doesn't
you're
she worry about the
gonna be
responsibility she's
responsible
assumed
for
for her
another
father's treatment?
person's another
And like
person's
that, because
image.
of my experience of being ill, I've done a lot of research. And I don't trust
Not
doctors,
a
because
good
doctors are
idea,
just people,
Mikhaila.
right? According to her, they're not just people. This opinion is not uncommon in North America, where surprising numbers regard YouTube as a viable substitute for medical school. Maybe because everyone's sick.
North America. YouTube. I don't even know where to begin with this bullshit. Like, she is insinuating that Pearson is a pseudoscientific nut job, together with like holistic, crystals. What is she trying to say here? And you didn't catch this. You didn't catch this. She's insulting you. Plus, she's British, so her culture would be pretty much the same when it comes to information from YouTube and internet. And more than that, she took a bunch of information from YouTube and internet to do this interview. So that seems okay, right? But if you're researching a really rare condition and you're looking for all the possible answers you can get from a very narrow field that's spread out across the world, yeah, you're gonna use internet for that. Let me ban this bot quickly and
We're on their turf.
there we go. Down, gone.
You got a bot. Model MT0D12, called the Flathead.
And the hell you care?
Guy I represent already paid Brick for it. I'm just here for the pickup. I can talk direct to Royce if necessary.
Nah, you talk to me. Name's Dum Dum. Now Couch, Planet. You fucking deaf? Well, shit. Goes for you too. I'll stand. This so fucking hard? Fucking ass on the fucking couch! Make me. Thought you'd never ask. Sit your ass down for a planet bullet in your skull.
Jesus, Jack, what gives?
Primerito, I don't like this guy's tone. Segundo, sitting on your ass makes you an easy target.
Sit your ass down for a planet bullet in your skull.
Jack, sit down.
This ain't gonna end well, but... shit.
Well, all right. Come on. Gotta lighten up. Take a hit.
What you blowing?
Esquive. Pure as baby powder.
Black lace. Tough to get your hands on. Gotta have a good source.
What's it do?
Ups dwarfs and adrenaline to the point you feel no pain. Trip's so intense it verges on psychosis. Corps fed it to their fighting legions during the Corp Wars.
Cyber psychos pop the tabs like candy. Vaporizing it mellows the burn without killing any of the effect. Come on, give it a whirl. Better? frickin' talk. Here we go. The Flathead, model MT0D12.
Militech's not gonna come looking for it?
Fuck them. They can hop around and try. We'll remove the serial number and lifted access logs using our soft. What's yours is yours.
Need to see it.
Suit yourself. Fucking tricked out this thing. Dynamic thermal optic camo armor. Full cognitive immersion with a Raven controller. Pinned down prototype actuators made of titanium, vanadium, Kevlar composite. And watch this. Fully integrated link too. So when the spider starts crawling up walls dangling from ceilings.
Could lose your lunch.
So what you think?
Raven's not the dedicated control unit for a Flathead.
Ha! Of course not. Militech controllers auto-link to Militech systems. I mean, you wouldn't want them tracking their stolen tech back to your hands. Yeah, Raven's our baby. Got improved neural sync and no fucking pesky tracing. You ask me, we ought to sell that shit.
Yep, we'll take it.
Free. Sure. Yeah. Let's see your cred.
Brick got it. It's all paid out.
Brick got it. I don't see any fucking brick around here, do you? You fucking deaf?
Fuck Brick then. Let's cut a new deal.
Ha! Now that's good business sense. Alright. You want the Flathead? I better see some eddies.
Relax. Got him right here.
Just like that! Without batting a fucking eye!
Want it or not, I got places to be.
You know, you never did say who sent you. Never did say who you're working for.
Dexter Deshawn. That's who.
Dexter Deshawn. The lard ass who punching animal fucked half of Pacifica? And he ain't dead?
No, he's alive, well, and kicking. And he sends his regards.
So, gonna consider my offer now?
I don't wait. You short, Cirque?
Here you go. Paid in full.
Hey, Flathead's good gear. It'll do the trick for you, whatever the trick is.
Now take the damn bot and get the fuck out of my factory. And you can tell Dex to suck my shiny chrome cock.
Got what we came for.
Nova, so now leave. And hey, after you get Dex's dick out of your mouth, tell him I say hello.
Piece of shit.
What the shit? Militech! Let's get the fuck out of here. Follow me.
Militech couldn't manage it on the sly with the chips, so they rolled in the big guns.
More their fucking style, I'd say.
Let's go. We really don't want to be here. We'll find the production line. Flip it on. Come on, move it.
Come on, Mikhaila.
Whatever your opinion of Peterson, however, his scrupulous deference to scientific data is indisputable. His public image is defined by scholarly precision. There's no precision. There's no evidence for that. It's practically his catchphrase. I am dying to ask him why he submitted to this medical circus. He's cured, for God's sake. Orchestrated by his daughter against his doctor's orders, who wanted to give him ECT when we speak the following day. That's electroconvulsive therapy, by the way. That's zaps to the brain so that you have seizures. I still can't tell if her father will be cogent or incoherent. I don't know what to expect. And Mikhaila will, of course, be monitoring our conversation. Mikhaila, the evil overlord. Peterson is as impeccably groomed, composed, and meticulously courteous as ever when he appears on Zoom a day later. He looks gaunt and pale, though, and I'm struck by an overwhelming sense of his vulnerability. Good time to stab now. As the professor is famously data-driven, I ask what medical evidence was so compelling that it persuaded him to detox in Moscow. This is not what happened. This is what it says. He looks slightly blank. I don't remember anything. From December 16th of 2019 to February 5th, 2020, he says, I don't remember anything at all. He reassures me that he did nonetheless consent to being treated in Moscow, so again I ask why. Here's the clip.
So you've obviously tried to get treated twice in North America, first on the Eastern Seaboard, and then in Toronto.
That just didn't work at all.
Do you even remember much about those two?
I don't remember anything about Toronto. I don't remember anything.
Toronto.
From December 16th to February 5th, of 2020, the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, I don't remember anything at all.
Do you think did you know that you were flying to Moscow to be put into a coma?
Yeah.
So in real time you were fully aware of it, but you've got no memory of it now.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm curious about the extent to which his mental health was troubling him in the months and years leading up to the crisis. Crisis as in the side effect from psych meds. So Dad says, well, I don't think it's a mental health issue. I think it's a physical health issue. I have an autoimmune disorder of some sort, and much depression is autoimmune in nature. Now I'm confused all over again. Throughout all his medical ordeals, there wasn't even ever a formal diagnosis of an autoimmune disorder, was there? Yeah, there was, Mikhaila jumps in, because there was. In Russia and in Serbia, fibromyalgia. This isn't an autoimmune condition, is it? You can have blood markers, like inflammatory blood markers, that show autoimmunity, and that can be diagnosed as fibromyalgia. If he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which he really formally wasn't, he was certainly diagnosed with fibromyalgia, although he's okay now, right? This was medication.
No, you're fucking it up. You're saying
then he starts
he
talking
has
instead about
symptoms of
post-traumatic stress disorder.
schizophrenia,
Can't
and
imagine
this
why.
is stupid.
One of the markers for post-traumatic stress disorder is
You
derealization, like when the
didn't
things around you
even-
don't seem real. And I was in a constant
you
state of
didn't even
derealization from
consult
October 2016
with,
till January 12th of 2021. Being Jordan Peterson, he explained
with
this
a
involved
lawyer.
5 years of untold pressure. I was at the epicenter of
That's
this incredible
stupid.
controversy, and there were journalists around me constantly and students demonstrating. It's really emotionally hard to be attacked publicly like that, and that happens to me continually for like 3 years. More now, Dad, more. In 2017, 200 of his colleagues signed a petition at the University of Toronto to have me removed from my tenure position, and my faculty association forwarded that to the administration without even notifying me. Dad, you don't have conversations like that. He's talking about people coming up to him on the street, telling him that they've helped him, or that he's helped them. And he says, you don't have conversations like that often outside of the clinical sphere, so part of what's overwhelming to me is how it's direct evidence of how little encouragement so many people get. His face crumbles into tears. They're starving. He breaks down. Sorry, he sobs. I haven't done an interview for a long time. He gets up to leave and returns a minute later carrying a towel to dry his eyes. Okay, that did happen, to be fair. Lucky this interview went so well. There definitely can be more. Here's the clip.
You don't have conversations like that often outside of the clinical sphere, and you certainly don't have them repeatedly with strangers on the street. But there's something about it that's really remarkably positive, you know. When I walk around, well, in any city, in some sense, it's like I'm at home, because where people know me, because people say on the street, they say, well, really nice to see you out. I'm glad that your health is recovering. It's like being surrounded by well-wishers and by friends. And I'm happy about it because, you know, it's a great thing if you're a clinical psychologist to be able to extend your reach like that. But part of what's overwhelming to me is how it's direct evidence for how little encouragement so many people get.
I've ever seen
They're
security
starving.
like this in a chow factory.
Sorry, I haven't done an interview for a long time.
Fine, take
me one
as
sec.
long as you need, of course.
Of course.
And things just fell apart insanely.
And
Every day
make no comment on the bit where she's like pretending to be understanding of the situation to later backstab your dad. Nothing about this? Really? Not a peep? This is...
Anti-personnel 9. Directional shrapnel's better.
I get it. You're not a professional, not a professional PR person. You're just the daughter of a guy. You're pretty smart too, but you, if there was a clone of your dad, or like, I don't know, I don't know who could have done a better job. A YouTuber. There's a bunch of YouTubers who could have done a better job at this than you did, even though you're smarter than a bunch of them. It's so bad. You should have contacted one of your friends. You should have contacted, I don't know, fucking Dave Rubin would have done a better job.
Stay cool. They're just trying to spook us.
Life and death in crisis for 5 months. The doctor said, well, she's contracted this cancer that's so rare, there's virtually no literature on it, and the 1-year fatality rate is 100%. So endless nights sleeping on the floor in emergency, and continual surgical complications, yes. He looks shell-shocked. So I took benzodiazepines. Those drugs are notoriously addictive, I point out. He had surely heard enough horror stories about housewives hooked on Valium in the 1960s to be wary. No, I really didn't give it a second thought. They were prescribed and I just took them. Here's the actual clip.
By the family doctor. Were you at all worried? Did sort of alarm bells ring about women in the 50s and 60s who got hooked on Valium and couldn't get off it? And
Well, look, when benzodiazepines were first introduced, they were touted as an almost completely safe replacement for barbiturates.
I remember.
So no, I really didn't give it a second thought. What happened was, well, partly I was, you know, my life was an absolute whirlwind at that time.
Maybe they really were the cause of all his problems, which they were. The more he talks, though, the more I wonder whether toxic masculinity might have been a culprit, too. Then she compares him to Donald Trump, because why not? Parallels with Donald Trump come to mind. Another unhappy man closed off from his emotions, projecting strongman mythology while hunkered down in a bunker with his family against the world. Peterson's critics will undoubtedly point out that he built an entire intellectual philosophy upon the principle that life is all about pain and suffering, that the strong, manly response is to square one's shoulders and battle through it, not to take drugs and numb the pain. This was an autoimmune disorder reaction, lady. If you don't, just like, I hope you never experience that.
Again.
Well, shit. Goes for you too.
Strongly manly response to square through shoulders and battle through, not to take drugs and numb the pain.
Fucking ass on the fucking couch. Sit your ass down for
Jack.
Well, come on. Take it.
What you... Black. Upstore.
Come on. Better. Now we can talk. Here we go.
Need...
Pin down and watch this. Fully integrated link 2. So when the spiders...
It'll happen. Brick got it.
Brick got it. I don't see any fucking brick around here, do you?
Come on. Can't expect me to pay for this thing twice.
And who the fuck are you to say what can and can't be? You'll pay twice because I say you'll pay twice. Alright. You want the flathead? I better see some eddies.
Seeing as you already got the eddies for it, you ought to offer us a discount. A big one.
A discount? Fuck. You know, you never did say who sent you. Never did say who you're working for.
Dexter Deshawn. That's who.
Dexter Deshawn. The lord ass who punching animal fucked half of Pacifica? And he ain't dead?
No, he's alive, well, and kicking. And he sends his regards.
So, gonna consider my offer now?
Militech's on your trail.
I don't wait.
Bang.
Grab the gear. Bottom control.
Where's the legendary? Oh. Chaos. Crunch. What else did we get? No. But like, yeah. Okay, this is an auto. Oh, take the flathead.
Got the set. Bot and controller.
And let's go. Quicker the better.
So we up tech ability. 5% chance to gain a free component of the same quality. Yeah, we get that.
Get out of here. I'm dying for some fresh air. I couldn't fail this beat. Ah, I can taste it.
It's a production line. Plus, I thought you loved meat.
Really no other way.
Wait a minute. I can use the network. What is this? Oh, wait a minute. Where to now? Oh, okay. Up, up. Turn on the production line.
Oh, good. Let's go. Vámonos. Cameras.
And so Dad goes, no, I never said that. Look, if you're a viable clinician, you encourage people to take psychiatric medications when it's appropriate. What I really encourage in people is to understand that it isn't useful to allow your suffering to make you resentful. And believe me, I've had plenty of temptation to become resentful about what's happened to me in the last 2 years. Here's another thing that actually did happen. When I watched the podcast he made last June with Mikhaila in Belgrade, I'd tell him I thought he looked angry and wonder who or what he was angry with. Well, pain will make you angry, is his response. Is any part of Peterson angry with himself for taking benzodiazepines? He hesitates. I wouldn't say angry, but it's not like I failed to see the irony. That was another thing that continues to make it difficult to stomach, you know? Should I have known better? Possibly. And this is when I stepped in, because should he have known that benzodiazepines can cause akathisia? Nobody knows that, including doctors here. Hopefully they'll know more because we're talking about it. Not that the Times is helping. Mikhaila interrupts sharply. Well, but he continues. I mean, I did do my thesis on alcoholism. She raises her voice and waves her arms. I said, hold up. You had a side effect from a medication. Should you have known better that benzodiazepines can cause akathisia in people who take SSRIs? No, Peterson defers. Enunciating each word she spells out, This wasn't a benzodiazepine dependency problem. This was an akathisia side effect from psych meds. Yeah, I'm spelling them out because she's so aggravating to talk to. I couldn't help myself. Like, how do I simplify this down more? Her father nods. Yeah, that's right. Mikhaila checks the time. We have to wrap up. He glances up. I'm doing okay, by the way. And I said, yeah, I know, but still. Mostly because I could see how this interview was going to turn out. So then she asked, wasn't it an understandable response to intolerable stress? There's no way akathisia is that, Mikhaila snaps. That's not what I said. Here's what I said.
This is purely just about somebody cracking under the pressure of life. Is that a possibility that you've considered?
Well, there's no doubt that
akathisia is then.
That's right. That's the basic answer to that, is that like I didn't develop akathisia until I tried to stop taking the benzodiazepines. So, you know.
Peterson's wife is making a miraculous recovery from cancer. She has recovered. She's fully recovered. She's awesome. His greatest source of stress right now is fear that the akathisia will come back. It's unbearable, and there's always this sense that you could stop it if you just exercised enough willpower, so it's humiliating as well. I guess if you take sound bites from all over the interview, you could get to that. Does it generate a self-punishing voice in his head accusing him of being weak? Yes, definitely. He worries that akathisia must look like weakness to everyone else too. It's certainly how it appears. Grotesque for sure. This is why we're talking about it, because it's so awful. And if people still don't get it, it's a movement disorder side effect from psych meds that doctors are unaware of, even though it hits a number of people. Like a large number of people who take psych meds. You can look it up on Google, akathisia, to see what it looks like. It's people kill themselves when they have it because it hurts so much. Then she talks about him writing a book. It's still cruel and rude. Why didn't he postpone the book until he was better? He did postpone the book. He postponed the book about a year. I can tell you why I did it, as in writing it. This is Dad. I can tell you why I did it, how I could do it. It was easy because the alternative was worse. Not writing the book and staying at home. And losing that part of his life, as well as being incredibly ill. He'd lost a year to Tammy being ill, then a year to his own illness. If I would have lost the book, I wouldn't have had anything left. I tell him I'm amazed he managed it, and he looks pleased. This woman. This is Dad. So to the degree that I can explain how I was able to manage it, I'm not going to talk about willpower or courage. I'm going to talk about the lesser of two evils. And she ends it with, except of course, that he has ended up framing his story in terms of his willpower and courage. Okay, so that's the Times article, which is pretty cruel, given the fact that, well, it's so biased. I don't know how you can, as a media source, write something like this and release it as the front cover. And the fact that I was insulted so much. I can't believe a pouting Barbie blonde. There are lip injections, woman. You can get them too. Trump press spokeswoman. Well, anyway. I don't like people
you don't see it
suggesting
as an
I'm
insult,
faking my
that's
arthritis.
fine, but you still have to address
Like,
it.
what a fun thing to do as a job. Fake an autoimmune disorder and then come up with a diet to follow that's restrictive
Shut up.
and not get
How do we
paid for
let
it.
this
This
fool
just,
out?
I don't know. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
I
Anyway,
hacked the fucking thing. Hack the door.
so thank you for that, Decca Aitkenheld. You can tell by the comments below your article what people think of it. After that, the Daily Mail published, Jordan Peterson claims he was suicidal and hooked on benzodiazepines. After that, New York Post publishes, Jordan Peterson says he was suicidal, addicted to benzos, and has schizophrenia. Then today, the Australian, news.com.au publishes Sense of Doom, Jordan Peterson dishes on severe benzo addiction and schizophrenia. So these news articles are just taking the Times article and rewriting misinformation based on it, and it's really hurting my family. I'm not upset right now But I was really distraught over the weekend, okay? Because recounting these events is really stressful. Akathisia
Right.
is
This
not
is why
to
I
be
should
taken
consult
lightly.
with someone
My dad's
who's
better, but
outside
we're
of
trying to
this.
put this behind us. Like, he's producing podcasts. We're going to come out with a couple more. Just let it go, and I hope other people don't experience this, and if they do have these symptoms, hopefully they know how to talk to their doctor about it. So then we have a couple of outlets. The Post-Millennial, a Canadian outlet, says media outlets falsely claim that Jordan Peterson has schizophrenia. Thank you very much. Blaze Media, Dr. Jordan Peterson's family denies misleading reports that he has schizophrenia. Yes, this is true. You can see the full email Dad wrote linked below and on his blog about his response to the Times and these news articles. I'll post it up here, but
Kind of your fault.
you guys can read it. He just told them he couldn't believe what they were doing. I can't help but be struck by the vast gap between what was offered and the resulting interview, which no reasonable reader could possibly consider celebrating my life and career so far, as indicated by an overwhelming majority of the readers of this piece, and what was done to my daughter, who uprooted her husband and small daughter more than a dozen times to accompany and care for me in 4 countries in the last year, while simultaneously dealing with her own severe health issues, skeptically described by your author, and the near death of her mother was brutally unfair, callous, and cold. Her illness, thoroughly documented over multiple years at the Toronto Hospital for Sick Children, resulted in the shattering and painful disintegration of her right hip and left ankle, and their surgical replacement of both
Peterson
before she was
also
17.
misses a lot of shit.
Technically, was
I kind of
17.
wish
Anyway, I'm not going to read
wish
that because it's making me cry, but he just goes on a rant too. A very well-written, eloquent rant.
Yeah.
Pointing out
protect
how
your daughter
unacceptable
rant,
this is.
but
Given the manner in which you crafted your invitation to me, I can't understand how you can, in good conscience, accept what has transpired. Sincerely, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. These stories hurt people. They're lies. I'm fairly resilient, but this made me emotional and very angry, and I couldn't sleep Saturday night. And honestly, if you want to get true information, watch long-form podcasts. For me, watch the podcast I do. Watch the podcast I do with my dad to watch our interactions, to see if I'm this weird, overarching, controlling character or not. Don't take the opinions of some resentful, angry journalist. Watch my dad and listen to what he says. Not the Times, not BuzzFeed, directly information from him. If people are worried about Dad or my family, please share the video. We need all the help we can get to combat this kind of thing. I've got faith in the power of honesty and the ability in people to see through lies, but sometimes some blunt clarification can help. And I'll see you guys soon in the next podcast I produce, or Dad will be on his channel, or us together, but we're okay. The article was really upsetting, but it's mainly upsetting because seeing the true malevolence in people is really scary sometimes. Anyway, onwards and upwards, podcasts are coming out. Dad's book is out in March 2nd, and it sold tens of thousands of pre-sales already. That's linked below. I've read it. I think it's better than 12 Rules for Life. And on that note, don't fuck with me. I don't take it lying down. See you around, folks.
don't fuck with me. I don't think I'd lie down. See you around, folks. But your dad, though, you're not just you. You're also your dad. Let's see the comments. Your dad, he said, thousands love him, but actually, it's actually millions. Okay, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Take heart, plot twist, interview with Kathy Newman. It's worse. It's worse than that. Okay. I think we have to do the Vaush shit now. God. Save me. Vaush, Kraut. So. Shit, okay. This is R. So to me, right, this is a retard fight, and people are saying Vaush won this. He didn't, though. He only won if you eat up all the bullshit that he's lying about. That's the only way Vaush wins this confrontation. Now, if you're gonna tell me that you don't know about this shit, okay. But if you know about this shit and you still think Vaush won, you're fucking stupid. Kraut is stupid because he missed it too. But oh shit, oh I'm missing Jim's Lindsay.
nuclear strike from Russia, and they had to make a instantaneous decision as to whether or not to retaliate.
Yeah,
and
this is
mutually assured
James Lindsay
destruction
for
and
palate
end the
cleanser.
world. And it turned out that they actually detected the rising of the moon, and so we almost, like within minutes of the most tense moment. We've also had, I don't remember what year. I don't think the Cuban Missile Crisis had occurred yet, but we are talking about a situation in which technical error, rational miscalculation of the risks of, say, nuclear war, or a rash speech of one of the leaders. We just went through people freaking out about that with Trump, using to spark a nuclear war within a number of people, in particular North Korea, could lead to total catastrophe. So Marcuse is saying that because we live in a world like that, we always live in a completely clear and present situation. So this is supposed to justify his absolute intolerance of anything that disagrees with him. In the past, in different circumstances, the speeches of fascists and Nazi leaders were the immediate prologue to the massacre. Kinda. They weren't I mean, eventually they were immediate. Hitler's first speech wasn't followed by gas chambers. There were a number of years before that happened. But you can take his point. The distance between the propaganda and the action, between the organization and its release on the people had become too short. So here we are talking about a number of years. It is worrying. It's not given the scale of destruction people could bring into the world. And so he says, but the spreading of the word could have been stopped before it was too late. If democratic tolerance had been withdrawn when the future leaders started their campaign, mankind would have had a chance of avoiding Auschwitz and a world war. So basically he's saying if somebody would have revoked Hitler's ability to speak, revoked Mussolini's ability to speak, they don't see Stalin on the list, they don't see Mao on the list, but nevertheless, if somebody would have revoked their right to speak, then we would have avoided Auschwitz and World War II. And so this is supposed to justify why his right bad, left good repressive tolerance is the way to go. And this is this next part is I know I'm getting long and we'll wrap up part 3 here, but this next paragraph is a stunning paragraph. I think it's one of the most important paragraphs to understand just how Marcuse's mind was working on this problem, besides obviously all the self-serving justifications that he's made so far. He writes, the whole post-fascist period is one of clear present danger. Take that sentence in a second. The whole post-fascist period is one of clear and present danger. Because fascism is coming to the world, doesn't go back to nuclear weapons here. Because fascism is coming to the world, the whole post-fascist period is one of clear and present danger. That's the justification he's going to get for right, bad, left, good, under his definition of left and right. Consequently, he writes, true pacification requires a withdrawal of tolerance before the deed, so you have to stop Hitler before he can speak, at the stage of communication in word, print, and picture. Such extreme suspension of the right of free speech and free assembly is indeed justified only if the whole of society is in extreme danger. So he's not totally unreasonable, right? But then he says, I maintain that our society is in such an emergency situation and that it has become the normal state of affairs. I mean, this is like TDS. I maintain, let's read that whole little part again. The whole post-fascist period is one of clear and present danger. Consequently, true pacification requires a withdrawal of tolerance before the deed at the stage of communication in word, print, and picture. Such extreme suspension of the right of free speech and free assembly is indeed justified only if the whole of society is in extreme danger. I maintain that our society is in such an emergency situation and that it has become the normal state of affairs. Different opinions and philosophies, that's in scare quotes, can no longer compete peacefully for adherence and persuasion on rational grounds. The so-called marketplace of ideas is organized and delimited by those who determine the national and individual interest. In this society for which the ideologists have proclaimed the end of ideology, the false consciousness, he's finally explicitly named it, the false consciousness has become the general consciousness from the government down to its last objects. The small and powerless minorities which struggle against the false consciousness and its beneficiaries must be helped. There's your race angle. For example, their continued existence, as though that's what's at stake. Their continued sounds like what we hear today, right? You're erasing my existence. You're tense. Their continued existence is more important than the preservation of abused rights and liberties which grant constitutional powers to those who oppress these minorities. Remember, we started with everything's immediately going to be fascist, and now he's like something about these minorities. It should be evident by now that the exercise of civil rights by those who don't have them presupposes the withdrawal of civil rights from those who prevent their exercise. Let me say that again. Let's get that right. It should be evident by now that the exercise of civil rights by those who don't have them presupposes the withdrawal of civil rights from those who prevent their exercise. So what he's saying is, if you want to give minorities, if you want to, in the civil rights movement, if you want to give black people rights, you have to withdraw the rights of white people, because those are the people that would prevent them from having them. So you have to silence white people to liberate black people. Sound familiar? That's what he's saying. That's the exact opposite of what Martin Luther King was talking about. It was the exact opposite of what worked. It was the exact opposite of what Frederick Douglass called for when he was praising the Constitution in the 1850s. That's what Marcuse argues here. It should be evident by now, it's false, it's not, that the exercise of civil rights by those who don't have them presupposes the withdrawal of civil rights from those who prevent their exercise, and that liberation of the damned of the earth presupposes suppression not only of their old, but also of their new masters. It's a hell of a paragraph right there. That is a hell of a paragraph. And so the damned of the earth is probably, but I'm not positive because it could refer to a lot of things. It's possibly, I should say then, a reference obliquely to The Wretched of the Earth, which is a book by Franz Fanon that would have come out a few years before this and really set the world on fire. He was a post-colonialist. He was talking about, I think he was a French psychoanalyst, so he's probably talking about Algeria, if I had to guess. I'm not totally positive anymore. I haven't reviewed my Fanon in a couple of years. Fanon openly said that the colonized have the right and in fact need to use violence to restore their dignity and their sense against their oppressors, their colonizers. And so here Marcuse says, we'll read that last sentence again, it's just so ridiculous. It should be evident by now that the exercise of civil rights by those who don't have them presupposes the withdrawal of civil rights from those who prevent their exercise, and that the liberation of the damned of the earth presupposes suppression not only of their old but also of their new masters. So here we have Marcuse very explicit, very explicitly calling for the a very repressive tolerance. That's the logic now. We have him very explicitly calling for, you know, right bad, left good. And what we need to do is withdraw the civil rights of people who disagree with his liberation movements and extend the civil rights outside of the normal range, including to violence, of people who do agree with his movements. And again, I make the case that this is the logic of the world we live in now. Marcuse in this essay laid out the logic that the liberationist movements took up and that they have now mainstreamed, and left politics since the 1960s has been largely and increasingly and lately almost completely dominated by this logic. And it's what you see causing text censorship in a very biased fashion. It's what you see with the responses to, say, the incident at the Capitol versus the incidents of BLM over the summer. It's what you see rather nakedly from the ways that Democratic and Republican politicians are commenting on things with total condemnation of the right and absolute permissiveness or very weak opposition of terrible things that are happening also on the left. And so I think it's very important to understand this. We will pick back up in part 4. This was part 3. I hope part 4 will be the last one. We might run long on part 4 to finish it, or I might break it into 2. We'll see. But I will start by rereading this paragraph in part 4, actually. So I apologize that it'll be redundant, but it's so important to read these 2 paragraphs again, where we have defined liberating tolerance as that which means intolerance against movements from the right and toleration of movements from the left, because he maintains that our society is in an emergency situation in which the whole post-fascist period is one of clear and present danger that has become the normal state of affairs. So different opinions, he writes, and philosophies can no longer compete peaceably for adherence and persuasion on rational grounds. Everything has been bent to the power of the ideologists, who they believe have said the ideology is over. So we pick up from there with part 4. Thanks for listening. We are going to continue to break down repressive tolerance so that everybody can understand this nightmare of an essay and its relevance and importance to the world in 2021.
It's showtime!
That was nice. Oh, that felt good. Who's here? There's someone here.
Sit tight! Coming for you!
He's upstairs? No. There's one more guy in the room upstairs. Where is he?
Seek and you will find, Governor! All cleaned up.
How do you get on here? Oh, someone from there. Shit. I guess I have to do fucking Vaush now.
Matt to like shit talking me relentlessly, and not just shit talking me, but calling me like a tanky, calling me like a pedophile, and like a groomer, like really weird shit.
Rattling off insults. Tanky call me. Tanky call me like a groomer, like a pedophile. Some of those are easy to defend. Others aren't. He's a pedophile apologist. Oh, that's so different than a pedophile. Oh, let's be precise. Okay, a groomer? Yeah, I mean, you tried to groom a couple of women, including grooming a woman to eat horse cock with him, pretty much. Kami? I mean, is this difficult to prove? He's completely obsessed with socialism and anarchism. So he's a commie. Tanky? Well. And again, rattling off his, show me evidence. Show me what I called you. Right? Exactly. I've seen some of your tweets. You implied it pretty heavily. Show me the evidence.
Shit like that. And I don't know why.
I don't think I called you a pedophile.
Yeah, I've seen some of your tweets. You kind of implied it pretty heavily. I'd say.
Well, it is true that you sent some weird messages to random girls.
No.
I mean, that is more like, it's more funny than anything.
Random girls. I was friends with girls who I acted creepy to like 4 years ago, but that's like a super out and about.
That clip of you saying that this Sargon thing that male feminists are just out there to creep on women. That clip of you saying, "Yeah, that's true. I got so much pussy in university."
What are you talking about?
By telling.
Oh. Listen. Yeah. What are you talking about? So my so there's a clip of Vaush in place of just like Sargon said it would. Oh my god. Now I have to fucking find shit to support Sargon's idea. Like, I don't want to go to a Curie Farms thread, so maybe Vaush male feminism. Left-wing male advocates. Male feminists. Vaush is a real misogynist.
Alright, so let's examine this utter display of just hypocrisy and weakness.
Hey Philip, what was that, a bowling alley?
Oh my god. There's the worst has the best shit. Ableist.
Gated in community, and he's like, well, why can't minorities do this too? That must be racism. Because in my sheltered world, oh, you know, we were able to do it. Derp.
Hold on. Snuck in a bit of my soggy knees. C is for cookie. That's cunt enough for me. Dropping the B bomb. Massage the knee.
It is insane. Caitlin Borisenko, or whatever the fuck that stupid bitch's name is
Wow.
single-handed.
Dude, massage Ginny, dude. Massage that knee.
Massage the knee. Massage the knee. There's the worst. Oh, Durst has his own blog now. Vaush, Wikitubia, what the fuck is this? American commentary YouTuber known for his left-leaning views and work against the alt-right. What? Oh my god. How do I find it? Vaush. Man. Okay, there's some. Those are the clips with. Who had it? Who had it? In any case, you should find that clip because Kraut is correct. There is a clip of Vaush saying that being feminist in an university got him a lot of pussy. I shit you not, I've seen that clip. But you need to find it. You need to find it. So, Jesus Christ, am I really going to go into Kiwi Farms? But then I guess... Hold on, search. Gosh.
Not by invading them.
Huh?
Nazi. To down the line keep Nazism from killing 100,000 people.
Okay, that's not it. Fuck. I'm not a Q Farms aficionado, so I won't know where exactly it is, but I know I've seen it on Twitter. Who had it? Wait a minute. I know how I'll ask. Hey man. When Vaush said his male got him pussy in uni. In uni. Did you that clip some what? Okay. The man who holds all the clips has been contacted. Let's continue.
Well, that clip of you is out there.
There was a.
I mean,
there
I
was a
saw
clip.
Oh my god. That clip of you is out there is the dumbest thing you can say right after fucking owning a guy.
There was a clip where I don't remember the specific context, but somebody said that guys are only feminists to get pussy, and I said afterwards, in a fairly jovial way, that actually yes, being a feminist does make it easier to relate to women.
Just me.
Bullshit. No, I remember that clip. He said he got pussy for being a male feminist himself. And the jovial part is like he it wasn't a joke. The joke was you get mad pussy for being a feminist. It's good to be a feminist. It's not a bad thing. That was the joke. The joke wasn't that it's not actually real and Sorgan of the God is wrong. That wasn't the joke. So our little Ian here is bullshitting Kraut. And Kraut has won this argument if you know the truth. Discord leak? No, it wasn't Discord leak. It was a clip from his stream. How do I find it? Here's the trouble. Oh, he's posting shit. Might or may not be able to stream tonight on account of a bad headache. The dental work is all healed up though. At the worst, we'll be live tomorrow. So, Vaush is not going to be streaming today, which is like a perfect time to drop a video on him. Shit. Wait a minute. Was it 50 Shades? January. Slim Archiving Alex Jones podcasts.
To talk about gamers. What the fuck is up with gamers? Why are all of you rapists? Why are all of you pedophiles? Right now, a huge number, like this is true, a huge number of cities all across the United Kingdom and France are having their culture completely changed by the influx of Muslim, like North African, Turkish, and what have you immigrants. And that's fine. Right now, a huge...
No context Vaush. Could have been him. Shit. Oh my god. Do I have this somewhere in like my bibliography? Caleb. UBI. No. Nothing about Vaush. Fuck. I mean, that clip is out there. Hey, Sam. No, wait a minute. Now, see, this is what the fucker is banking on. I'm now double checking myself. I'm thinking maybe this was one of those no context Vaush clips where it's a profile on Twitter that's supportive of Vaush and takes these clips out of context on purpose just to muddy the waters and make Vaush laugh about people referencing the no context Vaush clips. However, I'm pretty sure I saw that and I thought there isn't a context in which getting mad pussy as telling your chat that getting mad pussy as a feminist is the joke. He was saying this kind of ironically, but at the same time, seriously. Shit. Oh, maybe I'll leave the finding of the clips to some other time and then just take notes right now. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Well, I said it in a joking way, but I mean it. It's true. I think that, yeah, being nice and understanding women's issues does make it easier.
Please make the case to me. I would like to have that case now.
We've moved off the point a bit.
Where,
but anyway,
how much has Shoe and Head joined? Yes, please add your narration to the soup. But how much? Please make the case, dear lawyer. How much has Shoe and Head changed? How much of a good person is she? How much of a true leftist is she?
So as I was saying, we can get to that. But as I was saying. Last night, I asked you why you were so antagonistic to me, and it seems like it's because you're under the impression that my channel is about rehabilitating the image of people who you dislike.
Well, it's the same Griff Sargon used to run 5 years ago. I used to be an SJW, and I come to Sargon to confess my sins. And now you run.
I run.
It's pretty gross.
Okay.
Yes.
What is a grift?
We're coming for you!
Griff? Well, it's a modus of operation on the internet by which to succeed in building a career. We all run grifts, all of us.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm fucking looting. This was hard. Pomegranate.
Past the gate. We can talk there. That the militant bitch.
Bet you didn't expect to see me here. You know, I like the way you operate. Maybe you'd do some more work for us.
Be more than glad to.
Till next time then, V. Corporate gods willing. Secure the area.
Time we were on our way, mamita. Holy shit, V. Wasn't sure we'd walk out in one piece.
Thanks, Jack. Solid as ever.
Hey, yeah, you too, but, hey, what's this about? You feeling all right?
Yeah, I want to make sure, you know, we're good together. I like how we do things.
I do too, V. I do too. Hey, let Dex know we got his toy for him. And then I say we hit the afterlife. You know, do some shots. Ahí luego, V.
How things looking, Miss V?
Got the bot.
And how'd it go? Run into any trouble? And what about the Militech angle?
Sure, of course there was trouble. Royce couldn't have given two shits that you and Brick had shaken on it.
How'd you get him on board? You used the corpo woman?
Met with Stout, managed to strike a deal.
Well, well.
Gave me the chip with the scratch for Maelstrom.
So you paid for the flathead with corp cash?
No. Decided I could use the eddies myself. And I just grabbed the bot.
Just like that?
Not just. Had to use violence.
You got some balls, Miss V.
We're all set. Ready to go. What now?
Now we do the job I hired you to do, grabbing that biochip. We'll talk about the rest at the afterlife. See you there.
Great. Be there in no time.
See you, Miss V.
Panzer? No Panzer. Take this unity to pieces. Okay. Another level. Wow, that's nice. Consumables, grenades, custom clothes, custom weapons, crafting item free. Wow. Okay, maybe we do 1 point in cool blood. Quick cut cooldowns. Duration of cold blood. Increases armor. Stealth. Throwing knives. Hidden dragon. Let's go with reflexes. Handguns. Oh. Recoil 30%. Deal 50% more damage with pistols and revolvers to enemies whose health is below 25%. Recoil. Okay, let's try. Try this again.
Well, it's the same grift Sargon used to run 5 years ago. I used to be an SJW, and I come to Sargon to confess my sins. And now you run that grift.
I run.
It's pretty gross.
Okay.
Yes.
What is a grift?
So 456. What is a grift? So crowd levels and accusation level against Vaush result in arguments about definition. Should have a good definition of grift to bring it up. Here is mine. Grift means upward to so upward dualism is the idea that a person lacks convictions, rather they will chase profit in any situation. Incidentally, it is a smear that the communists behind the Iron Curtain used to attack productive members of society. Of course, real there's and opportunities exists, but they are, but it's a safe bet to not let communities define success, or you end up like kulaks. I'm gonna do something's fucked with my keyboard. No.